My name is Chelsea Smart, and I'm trying to make a series of videos that will help inform Black women who want to travel solo to different places. This series, January 2023, is about my experiences in San Jose, Costa Rica, and Costa Rica as a solo female traveler. So these videos are for that group. So welcome. If you don't know me, I'm a scientist, a daughter, an aunt, a sister. And yeah, let's see what we can get into in Costa Rica. Bye. Okay, so I said I was going to record a video of my trip to San Jose, Costa Rica. I'm kind of behind. This is my fourth day here in Costa Rica. So let me recap. I flew out on Saturday, January 14th. The flight to the Fort Lauderdale airport, the drive to the Fort Lauderdale airport was okay. Nothing spectacular. The traffic in Fort Lauderdale and the West Palm Beach area was nothing surprising. People were driving crazy. But luckily I was early enough. But when I got to the Fort Lauderdale airport, that airport is extremely busy now. It didn't used to be that way. So that was a surprise to me. And note to myself, next time I go out of an airport I haven't flown out for a long time, to check it and see what the traffic's like and where the terminals were. So once I returned the rental car, I got on the shuttle, and the shuttles were not running to Terminal 4. Terminal 4 is where all of the Spirit airline terminal planes take off, and it was extremely crowded. And of course, no one had a mask on. So, few of us had masks, but all the coffee places, everything was just jam-packed full of people. People were sitting all over the floor. There was nowhere to sit. So then, we're standing there waiting for our flight, and then of course it's delayed. So it was delayed an hour. Now this is a direct flight to San Jose from Fort Lauderdale, and it was supposed to take 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it was supposed to get in by 12:30 San Jose time. Well, at 12 o'clock Fort Lauderdale time, we were just getting on the plane. So the trip was okay. It was packed, but that's okay. I just read, and unfortunately, it seems like I picked crazy people to sit by. Okay, not crazy in the sense that they were nuts. It's just it was a couple that was sitting next to me. Luckily, the woman sat in the middle, but the man commenced to snore the whole time. And at one point, the woman looked over to me and she's like, "See what I have to put up with?" And she was holding her head. Every time he snored, she was just like shaking her head and putting her head down and looking at him. Now, she didn't nudge him awake. She just let him snore. So, and that was very annoying because I forgot my headphones, which was really bad. I had planned to put them on while I was on the plane, which is what I normally do, because usually there's somebody who wants to talk to you while you're trying to read, or some screaming kid, or some people screaming. Anyway, the flight landed. Customs was easy. Nobody asked for any kind of proof that you were vaccinated, no kind of vaccine. I had all my paperwork there. I got up to the front. It was easy. Went through, got my luggage. This is when things get crazy. So I flew directly into the San Jose airport. So you get out of the plane. You have no idea where. Okay, so the hotel I booked, Aloft San Jose Hotel. I'll have to tell. That's another video. Anyway, it's kind of one of these young people hip hotel for digital nomads where they can come here and have a room and do a lot of work while they're here, make their podcasts, whatever. They say they have a shuttle. I got in, of course I was late, right? And I couldn't locate any shuttle. There was nothing that would tell you where the shuttles were until you get to the shuttle place. And then it says hotel shuttles. But it didn't have Aloft written, and there was nobody there. And so you walk past a whole bunch of people out there outside of arrivals, and everybody's holding up a sign, people, taxis. It was just like a big old mess of people trying to get you to go in their taxi, van, shuttle, something with their name on your name on a thing, looking for their people. And then now this is a lot of people, and this is not even just the taxis for the airport. So then you trudge on by because you're just watching the sign, and the sign says hotel shuttles. So you go all the way down to the end, and then you don't see your hotel shuttle. So then I called, and the hotel was like, "Oh, is it okay if we send a taxi? If a taxi, gets there, then you have to pay him $30 to get back to Santa Ana." I didn't realize the traffic would be so atrocious. So I waited and waited and waited, and a taxi never showed up. I had to call back. And then she claimed, "Oh, she says, it was like, at this point it was 4 or 5 o'clock. "I'm going to send him now." I'm like, "Send him now? I asked you a while ago and you said you were sending him." Luckily, there was a kind man that was helping people. He's a Marriott employee, and he was helping everybody who came through looking for a Marriott shuttle. And Aloft is part of Marriott, right? So he called the hotel and was like, "Look, she's been waiting here for the shuttle for someone to come." And the woman was like, "Oh, no, he's on his way now." It's just that the traffic from Santa Ana is so bad that people who agree, or not people, but taxi drivers who agree, they can back out and say, "No, it's too much. It's not worth it." So I don't know what time it was by the time I got my taxi. So I came directly here to the hotel, and I checked in, no problem. There was no issue once I got here. Came upstairs, dropped my stuff, went back down and had me some drinks, of course, because I hadn't had anything to eat all day. I had a mask on, I barely had any water. It was kind of, and now this is the kicker. Once you get your luggage and leave the terminal in San Jose, there is no way to come back in to go to the bathroom. No bathrooms. So good luck. Just before you get your luggage, stop in the duty-free store somewhere around there and try to use the restroom, because there's no going back. They won't let you in. All right, so that was the first day. Yes, that's what I did for the first day. And I'll end the video right here, and then we can talk about, actually I can go ahead with the second day. So I'm in my hotel, I go to bed, thinking I'm gonna be exhausted because, I just couldn't function after all day of waiting for a shuttle. But anyway, nothing on TV. There are very few channels in English. So it is what it is, right? Learn Spanish. That's the message. And you can do full immersion because they're all in Spanish. So the location of the hotel is kind of strange. I guess Santa Ana is up and coming, or this part where I am. It's not so much Santa Ana as this other place called, I can't remember the name of it. Something like that. And I'm right next to McDonald's. I look at McDonald's outside my window from my room, and there's a Starbucks up the way, and then there's a movie theater right across the street. So very strange area. Doesn't look like it looks like it's still under development, or things have closed and they just let it go. So the first day I was here, which was Sunday, I just took it easy. Got up in the morning, breakfast was included, so I went down there, had a good breakfast. It was good. Didn't plan on doing much. Decided I'm gonna walk to the grocery store. So that's what I did. I got my shoes on, and at the time it was a little bit chilly, so I put some pants on, which was a mistake because I was boiling by the time I went out there. And I trudged up the street. So I went looking for this place called Fresh Market, and I went pretty far from what I thought. And I went as far as this Carl's Jr.'s, and then I got suspicious. So I turned around and came back, and I went to the Auto Mercado, and it's a grocery store. So I went in there and I bought some water and some snacks, and I was going to buy some wine, and then I forgot. So anyway, I lugged the water back. It was getting hot at that point. It was only 10 something in the morning. I got back, I came up here, put the stuff down, and just kind of hung out in the lobby for the rest of the day, trying to look for tours that I was going to do or anything like that. And that was Sunday, and that brings us to Monday. And Monday's a story and a half. I will save that for next time. So I'll leave it here, and the next video will be about Monday, January 16th, and what happened. See ya. Good morning. This is Chelsea, and I'm making another video about my travels to San Jose, Costa Rica. This video will be about my first tour. Okay, let's get into it. So I arrived on Saturday, January 14th. So this is a video about Monday. So I had previously booked a tour thinking that I was doing the appropriate thing on Expedia. And I booked a city tour of San Jose because I thought that's a good place to start. So thinking it was Expedia, and that's how I booked my flight, that it would be okay. Come Monday morning, I'm sitting there waiting for my tour bus to show up at the hotel, and it never did. Turns out, just hitting purchase doesn't mean that you're actually on their tour. I never received a confirmation email or anything. So I'm looking around on Monday and nobody shows up. And so then I go to the hotel tour guide, travel person. And this particular one is with Willy Tours. And he's kind enough to try to contact them, and nobody answers the phone. And so it turns out that they were supposed to email me that I was not on their tour for that morning because I was a solo traveler and they didn't have room. So long story short, the tour guide worked really hard and he did a good job. Him and his boss allowed me to join a tour that was already in progress, and I went to the La Paz Waterfalls and Gardens. And that was fabulous tour. So they booked me on that tour the same day. So they picked me up at the hotel and they drove me out to join the other people. They also picked up another group. On our way, our driver stopped at a store he knew that had coffee, and they had strawberries that they collect, and it's in the strawberry collecting area. So they made some strawberry liqueur, and that was very good. But I wasn't going to buy that because it's a big bottle of strawberry liqueur, and that's my first day, and what am I supposed to do with that? And how am I going to get that back? Anyway, so about coffee, though. We joined up with the other group, switched buses, and we went on to La Paz Waterfalls. Now, the other group had already gone to a volcano. So we got to the La Paz Waterfall and Gardens. So first we did the garden tour. We toured the plants, and this is all the local stuff from Costa Rica, around Costa Rica. This tour was amazing. It was in the rainforest, so it's important to wear the proper attire. And the tour description, although not detailed, does tell you what to wear and whether or not to bring sunscreen, and use sunscreen and bug repellent and insect repellent. So they are good about that. So when we got there, we went through the gardens and we saw toucan, we saw macaw, we saw butterflies, we saw ocelots, which are cats, we saw jaguar, and then the best part, I think, The hummingbird display was fabulous. They have a lot of species here. They're just amazing. How many, and the various colors. And then we, what did we do? We went through the whole gardens. That took a while. And then our tour guide, who was also amazing, they're translating Spanish and then they're doing it in English. So that's amazing. So he decided, let's just do the waterfalls. I think there were 4 or 5 waterfalls. I'd have to look that up. So what I plan to do in these videos is do a little introduction, and then I'll add slides of some of the scenery, what we saw, what we did. So we went to the waterfalls, and the waterfalls require going down and up a lot of stairs. I was surprised to find that my knees couldn't take it, especially going down. So my knees were shaking. So I didn't do the last couple of waterfalls. I just stayed at the mid-level, but I took a lot of pictures, and once we were done, we headed back up to go to lunch. But then we had to come back down because we were in the wrong restaurant. And that, of course, my knees were like, oh, you've done too much. You're not as fit as you used to be, you greater than 50-year-old lady. So the lunch was delicious. It was a typical Costa Rican dishes, and it was like buffet style. And I have a picture of the restaurant. It was in the of course, in the park, so fabulous. In this park, I think you can get you a hotel room. They have some bungalows that are, what did he say, $800 a night, something like that. Yeah, so if you're rich, that's good for you, and you can do that and stay right there in the rainforest. A lot of the tourists that are coming now, and this is peak season, are from Europe and Canada and places like that. Not the U.S. so much. Although I did run into a couple from U.S. and they said, "Hey, where are you from?" And then I told them, and they were really familiar with Vero Beach, and they had just been here, and they're snowbirds, which is surprising. That kept happening. So that was, that was that day, and it was amazing, and it was a last-minute tour. Willy Tours, I recommend them. And that's it for today. So then when I got back to the hotel, I posted on Facebook about my predicament. And as a solo traveler having trouble finding tours that would accept me, I was clued in. People shared information, and the places that I checked were VIP tours, and that's their direct website. You want to also check the expedition tours, their direct website, and I'll link them when I'm talking about the tours later on, because I took those tours later on in the week, and also urban tours. So there are options. The best way to do this, and these are my top tips, is not to try to book tours in the U.S. online. And if you're going to do it, wait until you get here and work with your hotel representative to get your tours booked, right? So they will know, especially if you're a solo traveler, if there's availability, because it seems like most of the tours want a minimum of 2 people, right? You understand it's not worth it, but I think they could work around that by having a minimum that's 3 people, and then just not go on the tour. I don't know if 2 people are worth touring with the price of their gas. Their diesel's pretty expensive. Anyway, another top tip. Do your tour booking while you're here, right? And what you want is the tour company to be more like an email or WhatsApp text. You don't want to just do it online and have it say book, because that in itself is probably not the best way. You want them to check to see if they're available and then respond to you. If you do not get a response, then your tour didn't go through, right? And doing it online is going to make you, pay by credit card or whatever, so you're going to have to be prepared. You also need to find out how you're going to pay for things. They have their own way of payment, like payment apps that you could download, but that's for you to do research on. I don't know anything about that. I tried yesterday, but that wasn't a good day. I mean, a good thing for me. So that's not how I paid. All right, so that's my first day tour. The second day, which would have been Tuesday, I took Uber and I went to some museums. I saw the National Museum, which was amazing, and I recommend it to anybody. And that teaches you about the history of Costa Rica, and they have a display of how they changed from the way they used to be pre-colonization and over time throughout, when the colonizers came. And it's very informative. So I think it's well worth checking out. The Jade Museum, I don't even have words for what the Jade Museum showed. So part of their culture, the pre-Columbian and the before colonization, they had, they lived in a system where they had shaman and, they were spiritual, and jade played a big role in their rituals. So you should check that out to see what they were able to do, the detail they were able to put on jade figurines and how it played a role in their lives. So that's another thing to check out. And those are both downtown. And Uber was very reasonable and didn't take long, right? Traffic is atrocious, but they'll tell you how long it's going to take, and they'll charge you based on what the traffic's like. So I had no problems, especially no problems when it came to not being able to speak Spanish well enough to get around. So I recommend that you do those tours. Also, see some of their museums. They're great. They do a good job. And it's also, pretty safe. I was down there waiting for my Uber to get back. And I didn't have internet all the time. I didn't get one of their SIM cards. So I had to go back into places that had internet to call the Uber, to schedule the Uber. But I went to their store down there, and it was like a kind of a wholesale grocery store kind of thing. You can buy bulk items. And I was wandering around looking for detergent because my hotel allows you to wash your clothes. Come to find out, my hotel allows you to wash your clothes for free, which is a perk, actually. So I've been, because I sweat a lot. So that was fine. I went in there and I managed to buy some stuff. And then I went out and got my Uber and went back. And there was no issue. I didn't have any problem. It's very crowded, of course, downtown. I think most of the populace lives in San Jose. From what I heard, they have a population of 5 million people and 3 million live in San Jose. So that should tell you how crowded San Jose is. All right, so that's it for this video for today. The next video will be on the VIP city tour. See you later. Bye.